माधव राधे।
जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे।
जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय।
जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय।
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद।
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद।
जय श्री श्री राधा माधवाष्ट सखी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद
जय
की
जय
जय।
जय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 So today we are starting chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Text 1. Arjuna Uvacha.
अर्जुन उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्मा किमध्यात्मम्
किं
किं
तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म
किम्
किमध्यात्मम्
अध्यात्मम्
किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तमा
किं
किं
कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम
पुरुषोत्तम
अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्
आदिभूतं च
अधिभूतं
किं
च किं
प्रोक्तम्
प्रोक्तम्
अधिदैवं किमुच्यते।
आदिदैवं
अधिदैवं किम्
किमुच्यते।
उच्यते।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन
अर्जुन उवाच
उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्मा किमध्यात्मम्
किं
किं तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म किम्
किमध्यात्मम्
अध्यात्मम्
किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तमा
किं
किं
कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम
पुरुषोत्तम।
अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्
आदिभूतं
अधिभूतं
च
च
किं
किं
प्रोक्तम्
प्रोक्तम्।
अधिदैवं किमुच्यते।
आदिदैवं
अधिदैवं किम्
किमुच्यते।
उच्यते।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन
अर्जुन उवाच
उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मम्
किं
किं
तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म किम्
किमध्यात्मम्
अध्यात्मम्।
किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तमा
किं
किं
कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम
पुरुषोत्तम।
अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्
आदिभूतं
अधिभूतं
च
च
किं
किं
प्रोक्तम्
प्रोक्तम्।
अधिदैवं किमुच्यते।
आदिदैवं
अधिदैवं किम्
किमुच्यते।
उच्यते।
प्लीज चैंट।
अर्जुन
अर्-
उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्म किम् अध्यात्मम्।
किं
किं
तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म
किमध्यात्मम्
किमध्यात्मम्
किं कूर्म पुरुषोत्तम।
किं
किं
कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम
पुरुषोत्तमा
अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्।
आदिभूतं च
अधिभूतं
किं
च किं
प्रोक्तम्
प्रोक्तम्
अधिदैवं किम् उच्यते।
आदिदैवं
अधिदैवं
किमुच्यते।
किमुच्यते।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन
अर्जुन
उवाच
उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मम्
किं
किं
तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म
किम् अध्यात्मम्।
किमध्यात्मम्
किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तम
किं
किं
कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम।
पुरुषोत्तमा
आदिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्
अधिभूतं
अधिभूतं
च
च
किं
किं
प्रोक्तम्।
प्रोक्तम्
आदिदैवं किमुच्यते।
अधिदैवं
अधिदैवं
किम् उच्यते।
किमुच्यते।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन
अर्जुन
उवाच
उवाच
किं तद्ब्रह्म किं तद्ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मम्
किं
किं
तद्ब्रह्म
तद्ब्रह्म किम् अध्यात्मम्।
किमध्यात्मम्
किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तमा
किं
किं कर्म
कर्म
पुरुषोत्तम।
पुरुषोत्तमा
आदिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम्
अधिभूतं
अधिभूतं
च
च
किं
किं
प्रोक्तम्।
प्रोक्तम्
आदिदैवं किम् उच्यते।
अधिदैवं
अधिदैवं
किम् उच्यते।
किमुच्यते। Okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Purport. In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers different questions from Arjuna, beginning with what is Brahman. The Lord also explains karma, fruitive activities, devotional service, and yoga principles, and devotional service in its pure form. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the supreme absolute truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In addition, the living entity, the individual soul, is also called Brahman. Arjuna also inquires about Atma, which refers to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to the mind, soul, body, and senses also. Arjuna has addressed the Supreme Lord as Purushottama, Supreme Person, which means that he was putting these questions not simply to a friend, but to the Supreme Person, knowing him to be the Supreme Authority, able to give definitive answers. So this verse goes with the next verse. So let's read that also. Then we can discuss. Adhiyagna katham kotra
Adiyajnam katam kotra
dehesmin madhusudana
Dehesmin madhusudana
prayana kale cha katham
प्रयाणकाले च कथं
ज्ञेयोऽसि niyatatmabhihi.
ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः
Please chant, devotees.
अधियज्ञ कथं कोत्र
Adhiyajna katham kotra
देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन
Dehesmin
dehesmin
madhusudana
madhusudana
प्रयाणकाले च कथं
prayanakale cha katham
ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः
ज्ञेयोऽसि
niyatatmabhihi.
niyatatmabhihi.
Adiyajna katam kotra
Adhiyajna
अधियज्ञ कथं
kotra
कोत्र
Dehesmin madhusudana
dehesmin
देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन
madhusudana
Prayana kale cha katham
prayanakale
प्रयाणकाले
cha
च कथं
katham
Neyosi niyatatmabhi.
ज्ञेयोऽसि
ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः
niyatatmabhihi.
Adiyagya katham kotra
Adhiyajna
अधियज्ञ
katham
कथं
kotra
कोत्र
Dehesmin madhusudana
देहेऽस्मिन्
dehesmin
मधुसूदन
madhusudana
Prayanakale cha katham
प्रयाणकाले
prayanakale
च
cha
कथं
katham
Yeyosi niyatatmabhi.
ज्ञेयोऽसि
ज्ञेयोऽसि
नियतात्मभिः
niyatatmabhihi.
आदियज्ञ कथं कोत्र
Adhiyajna
आदियज्ञ
katham
कथं
kotra
कोत्र
देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन
देहेऽस्मिन्
dehesmin
मधुसूदन
madhusudana
प्रयाणकाले च कथं
प्रयाणकाले
prayanakale
च
cha
कथं
katham
नेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः
ज्ञेयोऽसि
ज्ञेयोऽसि
नियतात्मभिः
niyatatmabhihi. Any volunteers to read translation and purport?
I can read Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know him at the time of death? Lord of sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva and Indra. And Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here Arjuna asks, who is actually the god of yajna sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of the living entity? Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusudana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna, because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is an expert in killing demons, Arjuna is here addresses him as Madhusudana so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now the word prayanakale in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, what should be their position at that final moment. At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in proper condition. Thus, disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kulashekara, great devotee, prays, my dear Lord, just now I'm quite healthy, and it is better that I die immediately so that the swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet. The metaphor is used because the swan, uh, have.
Let me highlight. Yeah.
Oh, the metaphor is used because the swan, bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus flowers. Its sporting proclivity is to enter the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulashekara says to the Lord, now my mind is undisturbed and quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your lotus feet, then I'm sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. If I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen, because at that time the bodily functions will be disrupted. My throat will be choked, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately. Arjuna's questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at the time.
Thank you, Mataji. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chapter begins with Arjuna asking questions to Krishna. So in these two verses, there are 8 questions. Does anyone want to tell me? All of you can try. What are the questions that Arjuna asked?
I think one
Mataji,
is how I remember Krishna at the time of death.
Yes.
The one foremost in my mind.
Yes. On everybody's mind. Other questions? What are the other questions Arjuna asked?
in 8.1, right?
Both are questions, right? Both verses are questions.
Okay, so I think you are sharing the screen here. So what is the self? What of
Yeah, I shared it so that you can see.
That's why I was thinking you're sharing the screen and asking the questions. So okay, yeah. And then who is the Lord of the sacrifice, and who lives in the body? How can this be engaged in devotional service? And how can remember at the time of death? Yep.
Yeah. So what is Brahman? What is self? What are the fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? What are the demigods? Who's the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in the body? And how can we know you at the time of death? These are the 8 questions. So for the first 3 questions, Srila Prabhupada briefly addressed in the purport. So what is Brahman is the first question. So he answered it by saying Brahman has 3 features. I mean, the Lord has 3 features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman is one of the features. And living entity also is called Brahman sometimes. And Atma, self. Atma word is used for body, soul, and mind. So Atma can mean either of those, mind, body, or soul. And then the third question is Purushottama. Kim karma, kim Purushottama. You can understand like that, the condensed sentence. So Purushottama is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Person. So these are the answers that Prabhupada has given in this. And then the rest of the answers will come during the chapter someplace. So in this second verse, there is a question, who's the Lord of sacrifice? We may think, isn't it obvious? It's Krishna. But sometimes Indra is also referred as Lord of sacrifice. So it could be Indra or Vishnu, but Vishnu is the chief of all the demigods. So Krishna actually, Vishnu is the answer. Arjuna is asking, who actually is the Lord of sacrifice? Intermediately, we may think Indra is the Lord, but ultimately it's Krishna. So the most important question that's asked is, how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? So that's very important, and Prabhupada spends a lot of time explaining that. So I was also researching, and then I came across this popular concept. In India, we hear it a lot, that why are you trying to do all these devotional things from young age? It's for somebody who's old. So is spirituality only for old people? That's the question. And can they actually take it up when they get old? I was looking for some pictures to put in the PowerPoint, and then I just searched in the images, old people. And some of the pictures that I saw were like really gross. So that kind of confirmed that one cannot change their consciousness once one is beyond a certain age. So when we see old people, we can see that they always think of their past. They keep telling the younger people around them how they used to do different things when they were young. So in general, the consciousness cannot be changed once a person gets old. Usually, we have to start devotional service from a very young age. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet Prajna. So we have to start devotional service from the age of Kaumara, which is like 5 years old. We can't wait until we get old. This popular conception is really wrong. So I had one experience. My uncle stays in New Jersey. He has been here for a long time, maybe like 40 years. Now his kids are grown up and they are on their own, and they both came to visit me. I thought they'll be open for some spiritual discussion, but it never even went there. They want to travel and they want to do different things. Now that he's at the age of retirement, he didn't retire yet. So I realized it's not going to happen when they get old. If we expect that something is going to change, it's not going to happen. There is one famous story of Akbar and Birbal also. You probably, all of you probably know it already, but I'll share it. One day there is this discussion between Akbar and Birbal. So Akbar asks Birbal, you know when this lusty feelings will end in a person? I think when they get old, they won't have those feelings, right? Akbar asks Birbal. Then Birbal says, no, they won't end until a person even dies. Akbar disagrees. And usually, when Akbar disagrees, Birbal doesn't argue. He'll just be quiet. He'll just wait for the right moment to prove his point. So one day, Birbal, he tells Akbar to bring his daughter along with him to go meet this person. So this person is an old man and he's just about to die. Like there is no cure for his disease and he's about to die. So when they go meet this old man, the old man immediately looks at the daughter of Akbar, who's very beautiful. So Birbal, before going, he tells Akbar that you have to notice where like he looks. So at that time, Akbar notices, and after they leave, then Birbal proves his point that people can get rid of lust even when they get old. So this is something that we have to cultivate. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example of somebody going on a stage to dance. If they just practice for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes before going onto the stage, obviously their performance will not be like a dancer's performance. It takes a lot of practice to perform. In Bharatanatyam, when they have to perform for graduation, that's called Arangetram. And for that, the student prepares for like 2 or 3 years. Maybe the actual dance instruction of the steps and everything, it'll be like 3 or 4 years. But 3 years is the preparation for that performance of 3 hours. So this is how much preparation that's needed for just a 3-hour performance of a material skill. So we can think of what we need, how much preparation we need to go back to Godhead. It's a lifetime in preparation. We have to continuously modify the consciousness to always think of Krishna, to do what is favorable for Krishna, and engage the mind and senses in Krishna consciousness. All these things we have to learn, we have to practice so that we can remember Krishna at the time of death. So Srila Prabhupada, he says in the purport, the prayer King Kulashekar offers, that now my body is able to remember you. If I'm really old, my throat will be choked up and there will be so much kapha in the body that I may not be able to even say your name. And I see that my grandmother, she was a nice devotee. She's also initiated. She was chanting very seriously and every day following everything. But she became too old and she got dementia. And she thinks that she chanted her round. She just touches her beads and she thinks that she finished her rounds. If I ask, did you chant your rounds? She says, do you think I don't know that? I chanted in the morning. I won't keep my rounds until now, until night. I already finished my rounds. That's how she thinks. She doesn't know. When body becomes incapable after a certain age. So I can see, I always wished that she could have passed away when this started. I prayed for it, but it didn't happen. So, when I can understand King Kulashekhar's prayers. If we become too old, it may not be a possibility that we think of Krishna when we die. So it's a possibility that she may not think if Krishna is not merciful on her. So that prayer is valid. We can pray like that. Let me leave when every faculty is in good shape and when I'll be able to think of you properly. But Krishna also tells that when a person sincerely engages in devotional service, I myself appear in their minds when they leave their body. So he does show mercy. He's not a merciless person. He is a person who has all these qualities in full. So he'll also have mercy in full, and he may remember what we have done throughout our lives when we leave our body. So similar question, King Parikshit, he asks all the sages. So Parikshit Maharaj, after he was cursed by the Brahmana boy, some messengers, they convey this curse to him. As soon as he heard of the curse, without any attachment to anything he might have had at that time, royal opulence, wife, children, everything, he left and immediately he went to the bank of Ganga to stay there for 7 days and 7 nights and engage in the thoughts of Krishna. So knowing this, all these different sages, Narada Muni and others, they assembled at that place. So in that assembly, he requests, he asks everybody, what is the duty of a living entity in general, especially a person who's about to pass away. So just when they were about to answer, Shukadeva Goswami, he walks in. He's very beautiful. His complexion is like Krishna's. He has these long arms and his nose is sharp, eyes are like lotus petals. He looks like Krishna also. So he walks in, and everyone, just by looking at his bodily features, they could know that he's a Mahapurusha. He's an elevated person. But others who have been looking at him when he was going on the road, they could not figure out. Even when Krishna was walking on this planet, some people could not figure out. So they were throwing stones on him. He tolerated all that. He has nothing to do with this world. So he's not in the material modes. He doesn't get bound by attraction or repulsion, or he's equipoised in distress and happiness. So he didn't care for that. But when he walked in, everybody could tell that he's the one who can answer that question. So Parikshit Maharaj, he asks Shukadeva Goswami that question. Same question, what is the duty of a person who's about to die? So that's where the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam ends. And the second canto begins with Shukadeva Goswami's answer. So first canto is like setting the scene. And from second canto, actual Srimad Bhagavatam begins. And Shukadeva Goswami, he glorifies Parikshit Maharaj's question. He says that your question is glorious because it's beneficial for everybody. So whatever we do, if we can see whether it's beneficial for others, that's what determines whether it's a noble act or not a noble act. So he's asking this question which can be beneficial for everybody. And the answer to this question is something that everyone should hear. And then he begins with describing how materialistic people, they live their lives. So these materialistic people, they have no idea about ultimate truth. They are completely blind and they only hear the subject matters of the material world. And mostly all the materialists will be envious. And they pass their daytime in all these materialistic activities of making money, maintaining the family members, and at night time they sleep. These are the people who are devoid of Atma Tattva. So they don't see into the problems of life. Even if they see so many people dying, even if they see so many problems in the material world, still they don't see. Pashyannapi na pashyati. That's the phrase that is used, and Prabhupada also uses it many times. So they are very attached to this material world. That attachment is what blinds them towards seeing the absolute truth, towards seeing the actual position of the material world. And Shukadeva Goswami, he says, if we want to be free from all these miseries, what we need to do is, we need to hear about, we need to glorify, and we need to remember the personality of Godhead, who's residing as the super soul in everyone's heart. And he is the controller, he is the one who saves us from all miseries. So this is a very nice, important verse. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Bhayam. So this material world is miserable. Yes, because of that, it's very fearful also. So if we want fearlessness, then we have to do these three things. We have to hear, we have to glorify, and we have to remember. It's like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So we have to do these things, and that's what gets us out of this material world. So the highest perfection of this human life will get when we have the complete knowledge of matter and spirit. It could be accomplished by the path of knowledge, by the path of mystic yoga, or even by the path of prescribed duties, by discharging them perfectly. We can get to this perfection of stage where we can remember the Supreme Lord at the end of life. The perfection is Ante Narayana Smriti. When someone can do that, that means their life is perfect. So then he describes who are the people who will glorify the Lord, who will describe the glories of the Lord. So mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are like, they're beyond these material rules, regulations. They already transcended the material modes. They are the ones who take pleasure in describing these glories. If someone is experiencing pleasure, to the degree we experience pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Lord, to that degree we are beyond these material modes. If we can constantly hear and glorify, that means we are beyond the material modes. So he tells him that I studied this Srimad Bhagavatam at the end of Dwapara Yuga, and my father Vyasadev, he taught this Srimad Bhagavatam to me. I was already transcendental. I wasn't attracted to anything material, but still I got attracted to these pastimes of the Lord. So for example, anybody in this material world, they may be attracted to different things. So for them, if they are attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam, we may say, oh yeah, one more thing they are attracted to. They're attracted to so many other things, and they're attracted to this also. What's the big deal? It's just another poetry. So Shukadeva Goswami is giving an answer to that. He's saying that he wasn't attracted to anything. Even those kind of people who are already liberated, they get attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes the glories of the Lord and his devotees. So that same Srimad Bhagavatam that I'm attracted to, I'm going to recite that for you, because you're a very sincere devotee of the Lord. So you can give full attention and you can respect this hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, and using this, you can achieve unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. And again, he describes the glories of chanting the holy name. So this is the doubtless and fearless way of success. So we are thinking about how we can achieve perfection. So this is the way, by hearing and chanting. including like if people initially, if we are attracted to some material desires, some people like I got Bhagavad Gita in my college. When I was doing my master's, I got Bhagavad Gita, and I could not understand anything in it. Book distributors distributed it to me, and I just kept it on my altar, and I could not understand anything about it. So it was the same year 9/11 happened, and the whole economy of US was really down. And there were campus interviews at Arizona State University, and I wanted to get into some company to work. So for that, I read Bhagavad Gita as a ritual. Like if you read Bhagavad Gita, your desires will be fulfilled. So I read it, but really didn't understand much. So Krishna here, Shukadeva Goswami is saying, if you have material desires, or you may have no desires, or you may have a desire for liberation. In any case, you have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So the good thing about taking shelter of Supreme Lord is he may give you what you need, may not be what you want. He may give you what you need, and he will also purify that material desire from the heart. Whereas if we worship demigods and if we get what we desire, they don't care about your welfare. They don't care about how we can cleanse this person so that he may advance spiritually. But Krishna cares. So if we ask Krishna, even if we have material desires, Krishna will clean us of that desire, so that eventually we'll become desireless. Eventually we'll just desire the pleasure of the Lord. Eventually we'll just desire serving him. So that's the good thing. That's why Shukadeva Goswami, he promotes this idea that anything you desire, you just worship Krishna. You constantly chant the holy name. And he says, what's the point in living a long life? If you're just breathing and doing no search for finding the Supreme Lord, then there is no point in living like a long life. Whereas the contrast for that is King Khatvanga. He fought for demigods. He was a very valiant king. So the demigods asked him to fight on their behalf. So he goes to the heavenly planets to fight. And after everything is over, demigods win the battle. And after everything is over, they ask him, you can ask us for any boon. So Khatvanga, he only asks to know how long he has in this life. So they say 1 moment. So at that very moment, he fixes his consciousness completely on the Supreme Lord and he achieves perfection. So that's the kind of life we should desire. Even if it's short, that's the kind of life we should aim for. Not like a long life which has no Krishna consciousness. And Shukadeva Goswami, he's personally instructing King Parikshit. He's telling that at the last stage of life, you should be bold enough. You should not be afraid of death. And you should cut off all attachment to material body and everything related to this material body, including the desires. So you should leave home and practice self-control. You should bathe regularly, sit down in a place, sanctified place. And you have to remember the Supreme Lord, that transcendental sound, Om, and regulate the breathing process. And then your mind can be fixed. And gradually you can spiritualize the mind and you can withdraw it from sense activities and intelligence. By intelligence, you can control the senses. And mind will also be initially absorbed in material activities, but you have to engage it in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that way, you will be fully situated in transcendental consciousness. So he's telling, first of all, you learn how to control the mind using different techniques like breathing and Om. And for us, everything is involved in chanting the holy name. And once we control the mind, then we can restrain the senses. We can engage them in the service of the Lord, both mind and senses. Intelligence has to be really strong to be able to do that. And how we develop our intelligence is by reading the scriptures, by hearing. So thereafter, he recommends meditating on Lord Vishnu. He just gave some practical process for Parikshit Maharaj to come to this platform of meditating. So the hurdle for that is mind is always agitated by passion, by ignorance. We have to rectify, we have to pacify the mind. We have to cleanse all the dirty things in the mind. That is only possible by remembering Krishna. When we remember Krishna, then everything dirty in our mind will be cleansed. When we surrender to Krishna, Krishna personally sitting within our heart will cleanse our heart, because he can see everything. He's the only one who can see everything in us. And sometimes we may not even know what kind of anarthas we have, but Krishna knows. If we pray and if we sincerely surrender, he will cleanse us of all these contaminations. And eventually we will come to the perfectional stage, and at the end, we can remember Krishna at the time of death. So Prabhupada really likes Mukundamala Stotra. There are many verses in Mukundamala Stotra which are very beautiful, and they will remind us of Krishna and the way he prays, on how he wants to be engaged, how he wants to die, how he wants to meditate, is very nice. So I thought if anybody has any questions, we can address that. Otherwise, we can read some verses from Mukundamala Stotra.
I don't
Any
have particular
questions?
questions, but I wanted to make a comment that
Yes,
can think-
Mataji.
I hope I don't become like your grandmother, because I'm trying to finish my rounds as fast as possible, even now. So if I'm in that condition, I might think I've finished my rounds.
Yeah, I don't think you'll become like her.
I hope not.
You're in the association of devotees. She was actually all alone in her village, but
Mhm.
she was practicing
No,
very
still,
nice.
you don't know, dementia could come to anybody,
Yeah.
That's the thing. You actually want to remember,
Mm-hmm.
Like I just, you said your uncle was not interested, but I had an aunt, who died relatively early, in her 60s of
Mhm.
cancer. And her body was completely decimated, but her mind was still there. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, that is more important than, even if your bodily functions are not functioning so well, And at the time of her passing, she chanted,
Wow, amazing.
I know for 6 months she was on like serious painkiller medication. And in those painkiller medication, you're drugged, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're in a very stupor kind of state most of the time, But like you said, Krishna remembers you. Just before her passing, she becomes alert, so that is not normal, That is Krishna actually assisting you as you pass, And not only did she chant Narayan, Narayan, she was telling her sisters who are in sound mind and body, who were not chanting, to chant,
Yes.
So it goes to show that if your mind isn't, still alert, you can call out to Krishna, even if the body is like so fully decimated,
Yeah, it's ultimately Krishna's mercy, but he does see our endeavor also.
Right. But I was thinking your grandmother might have been in dementia, but we in sound mind and body want to finish our rounds as fast as possible. So we can
wherever she goes, she takes that beat back. But she really doesn't chant. She forgot.
Well, at least she has an excuse, mental excuse.
Yeah, she was very sincere until she got this dementia, but
I don't know
no.
what my excuse is. Sometimes I think that I've chanted this many rounds, when I am not,
Yeah.
That's why I try to do some extra rounds just in case I didn't count properly.
Yeah, it makes us very humble, right? Knowing that it's not completely us, it's not completely in our control. It's
Yes,
Krishna's
yes.
mercy.
So it's just like Maharaj Kulashekara, we should do as much as we can when we are in sound mind and body,
Mhm. Yeah.
and we don't do as much as we can. That's what worries me.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to see how she passes away.
Well, since she was Krishna conscious most of her life, you never know.
Yes, yes, she was. She was from the beginning of her life. She was. Even though rest of the family ate meat, it was only like one generation old, this eating meat habit. She never ate. She never used to even let meat come into the house, into other pots. There is a separate pot you cook for yourself, and she never ate meat. And she taught all of us all these different stories of Prahlad and Dhruva, and she had Puranas in her house. I used to spend my summer there, and she was very devotional all her life. But she does have some attachments, material attachments, which you cannot hide when you are old. Everything comes out.
Yeah.
She likes saris. She had a lot of saris. So she's very attached to the saris. So that's what Shukadev Goswami is telling, right? We have to work on those. We have to just get rid of all those attachments before old age hits.
Well, sari attachment is a small thing. I think it's easier to, but the greatest attachment is attachment to our family.
She doesn't remember anybody now.
Oh, that's a good. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing, but maybe that's a good thing. It's just going towards detachment in a different way, At least, what do you make the best use of a bad bargain? Right?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Nice comments. Anyone else has any comments? If not, we can read this Mukunda Mala Stotra. I'll read the verse, and if all of us can take turns reading the translations, it's a nice meditation. Shri Vallabheti Varadeti Dayapareti Bhakta Priyeti Bhavalunthana Kovideti Natheti Nagashayaneti Jagannivaseti Alapinam Pratidinam Kurumam Mukunda. Someone can read the translation, please.
Ramakunda, my Lord, please let me become a constant reciter of your names, addressing you as Sri Vallabha. He who is very dear to Lakshmi, Veranda, the bestower of benedictions, Dayapara, who is causeless merciful, Bhakti Priya, who is very dear to his devotees, Baba Luthan Kovida. He is he who is expert in plundering the status quo of the repeated birth and death. Natha, the Supreme Lord, Jaganvasya, the resort of the cosmos, Nagasanya, the Lord who lies down on the serpent bed.
Jayatu Jayatu Devo Devaki Nandanoyam Jayatu Jayatu Krishno Vishnivamsha Pradeepa जयतु मेघश्यामलकोमलाङ्गो जयतु पृथ्वी वारानाशो मुकुन्दा.
All glories to this personality of Godhead, known as the son of Srimati Devaki Devi. All glories to Lord Krishna, the brilliant light of Vishnu dynasty. All glories to the personality of Godhead, the hue of whose soft body resembles the blackish color of a dew cloud. All glories to Lord Mukunda, who removes the burdens of the earth.
मुकुन्दमूर्ध्ना प्रणिपत्य याचे भवन्तमेकान्तमियन्तमर्थम् अविस्मृतिस्त्वच्चरणारविन्दे भवे भवे मेस्तु भवत्प्रसादात्.
O Lord Mukunda, I bow down my head to your Lordship and respectfully ask you to fulfill this one desire of mine, that in each of my future births I will, by your Lordship's mercy, always remember and never forget your lotus feet.
नाहं वन्दे तव चरणयोर्द्वन्द्वमद्वन्द्वहेतो कुम्भीपाकं गुरुमपि हरे नारकं नेतुं रम्या राममृदुतनूलता नन्दनेनापि रन्तुं भावे भावे हृदय भवने भावयेयं भवन्तम्.
O Lord Hari, it is not to be saved from the dualities of material existence or the green tribulations of the Kumbhipaka, hell, that I pray to your lotus feet, nor is my purpose to enjoy the soft-skinned beautiful women who reside in the gardens of heaven. I pray to your lotus feet only so that I may remember you alone in the core of my heart, birth after birth.
नास्ता धर्मेण वसुनिचयेनैव कामोपभोगे यद्भाव्यं तद्भवतु भगवन् पूर्वकूर्मानुरूपम्. एतत् प्रार्थयं मम बहुमतं जन्म जन्मान्तरेऽपि त्वत्पादाम्बोरुहयुगगता निश्चला भक्तिरस्तु.
O my Lord, I have no attachment for religiosity or for accumulating wealth or for enjoying sense gratification. Let these come as they inevitably must, in accordance with my past deeds. But I do pray that for this most cherished boon, birth after birth, let me render unflinching devotional service unto your lotus feet.
दिवि वा भुवि वा ममास्तु वासो नरके वा नरकान्तकप्रकामम् अवधीरिता शरदारविन्दौ चरणौ ते मरणेऽपि चिन्तयामि.
O Lord, killer of the demon Naraka, let me reside either in the realm of the demigod, in the world of the human being, or in the hell, as you please. I pray only that at the point of death, I may remember your two lotus feet, whose beauty defies that of the lotus growing in the Sharad season.
चिन्तयामि हरिमेव सन्ततं मन्दहासामुदितानानाम्बुजं नन्दगोपतनयं परात्परं नारदादिमुनिवृन्दवन्दितम्.
I always think of Lord Hari, whose joyful lotus face bears a gentle smile. Although he is the son of the cowherd Nanda, he is also supreme absolute truth, worshipped by great sages like Narada.
करचरण सरोजे कांतिमान नेत्रमीने श्रममुषि भुजवीचि व्याकुले गाध मार्गे हरिसरसि विगाह्या पीयते जोजलौघं भवमरुपरिखिन्न क्लेशमद्य त्यजामि.
The desert of material existence has exhausted me, but today I will cast aside all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. The lotuses in the lake are his hands and feet, and the fish are his brilliant eyes. The lake water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves his arms create. Its current flows deep beyond fathoming.
सरसिजनयने सशङ्खचक्रे मुरभिदिमा विरमस्व चित्तरन्तुं सुखतरमपरं न जातु जाने हरिचरणस्मरणामृतेन तुल्यम्.
O mind, please never stop taking pleasure in thinking of the Mura demon's destroyer, who has lotus eyes and bears the conch in this weapon. Indeed, I know of nothing else that gives such extreme pleasure as meditating on Lord Hari's divine feet.
माभिर्मन्दमनो विचिन्त्य बहुधा यामिश्चिरं यातना नैवामि प्रभवन्ति पापरिपवः स्वामी ननु श्रीधरा आलस्यं व्यपनीय भक्तिसुलभं ध्यायस्य नारायणं लोकस्य व्यसनापनोदनकरो दासस्य किं न क्षमा.
O foolish mind, stop your fearful fretting about the extensive torments imposed by Yamraj. How can your enemies, the sinful reactions you have accrued, even touch you? After all, is your master not the Supreme Lord, the husband of Goddess Shri? Cast aside all hesitation and concentrate your thoughts on Lord Narayan, whom one very easily attains through devotional service. What can that despair of the whole world's trouble not do for his own servant?
भवजलधिगतानां द्वन्द्ववाताहतानां सुततुहृत्रकलत्रत्राणां भारार्दितानां विषमविषयतो ये मज्जतामप्लवानां भवति शरणम् एको विष्णुपोतो नराणाम्.
People in the vast ocean of birth and death are being blown out by the winds of material dualities. As they flounder in the perilous waters of sense indulgence with no boat to help them, they are sorely distressed by the need to protect their sons, daughters, and wives. Only the boat that is Lord Vishnu can save them.
भवजलधिम् आगदं दुस्तरं निस्तरेयं कथमहमिति चेतो मास्मगाकातरत्वं सरसिजदृशि देवे तारकी भक्तिरेका नरकभिदि निषन्ना तारयिष्यत्यवश्यम्.
Dear mind, do not bewilder yourself by anxiously thinking, how can I cross this fathomless and impassable ocean of material existence? There is one who can save you, devotion. If you offer her to the lotus-eyed Lord, the killer of Narakasura, she will carry you across this ocean without fail.
Okay, that's all I saved. So any reflections on what we read?
That last translation is the answer to all the question, right? How can we
it's very
remember
nice.
Krishna at the time of death? Devotion.
Yes. Yeah, he has deep devotion, King Kulashekar. He was actually always engaged in hearing. I think most of you know, but I'll just tell it briefly. So his ministers, he didn't like that he's wasting so much time in just hearing about the Lord. Every day he calls devotees to his palace, and then he hears the stories that they tell about the Lord. So one day, the ministers, they plan that somehow we need to break his faith in these Vaishnavas. So they offer him something, some food, and they think that they're going to mix poison in it. And they're going to say, the Vaishnavas have given this to you, and they'll reveal the whole plot as if they found out that they might have mixed some poison in it. And then as soon as he finds out that Vaishnavas are trying to kill him, he's going to lose his faith in Vaishnavas, and he'll stop hearing all these things, and he'll pay attention to the kingdom and kingly duties. So they plan this whole thing, and they bring this nice meal to the Lord, to King Kulashekar, and they say, this nice meal is being offered to you by all the Vaishnavas, but from our secret agencies, we found out that they mixed some poison in it. We can just throw it away, or we can test it. They probably test it on some animal, and it probably dies immediately. But the king says, I don't believe this. If if the Vaishnavas are real, even if I eat this food with poison, nothing will happen to me. And then he eats it and nothing happens to him. So their whole plot of breaking his faith in Vaishnavas will be shattered. And he continues to do what he has been doing all along. So that's his faith. He's completely fixed up. He's the Alvar in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. And Prabhupada also, for some reason, really liked him and he translated Mukundamala Stotra.
Yeah, just like Prahlad, right? I mean, even when his father gave him poison, it would not affect him.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so it's 8:01. If there are no other questions or comments, we can stop here. Thank you all very much. I hope it was okay to recite Mukundamala Stotra.
No, okay, it's more than wonderful.
Thank you. It had 46 verses. I really wanted
I
to do
know. In
something,
fact,
but-
we have to request Ragasandra Prabhu, who's on the call, to have Mokandamala Stotra in a morning call sometime in the future.
Yeah, it's very nice. It has so much juice in it. The
Right,
poetry and his mood and the way he
right.
plays.
By his grace, we have been singing Bhishma Stuti, Gopi Geet, Gajendra Moksha prayers,
Wow.
which I would have never recited and studied on an everyday basis if it was not for him.
Yeah, he's really fixed up.
So fixed up. And he's getting us little bit fixed up, not fully fixed up.
Yeah.
Little mixed up, not completely fixed up.
Okay, thank you all so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila
Santo
Prabhupada ki
Prabhupada ki
jai.
jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Vasundhari Radhika Mataji ki jai.
Vaishnavas ki jai.
Hare Krishna.